Why MGTOW is a strong hope for brighter future of the world. A quote by Wilbur Wright. I don't have time for both a wife and an airplane. End of quote. Another quote by Nikola Tesla. Be alone, that is the secret of invention. Be alone, that is when ideas are born. End of quote. The phenomenon of men going their own way, or MGTOW, is steadily spreading throughout the world. Search engines are showing increasing popularity of queries about MGTOW. Governments of Japan and South Korea are puzzling over encouraging so-called herbivorous male youth to engage with women. A fairly large proportion of Germans prefer a lonely life, and there are many more similar examples. The significant fall in fertility across the First World raises the question of self-reproduction for the so-called civilized part of humanity. Conservative and ultra-conservative circles are alarmed. If the intersexual relationship crisis is not resolved in the near future, the white race is at risk of extinction. However, I don't share such pessimism. On the contrary, I see a significant reason for optimism in the situation described. Why we all owe our birth to women, still the world in which we were born is the product of mostly men's brains and hands. Man's psyche has instinctive urge to transform surrounding reality, solve sophisticated and super-sophisticated tasks, explore the opportunities embedded in our environment, and seize those opportunities. The MGTOW path is first and foremost a way of freeing man's brains. A man won't be able to unleash his creative potential until his head is overfilled with typical present problems like providing for his children, finding money to satisfy immeasurable wants and wishes of his so-called soulmate, looking for a second or third or even fourth job to pay off all the loans and mortgages, etc. In other words, as long as man stays inside the system or the matrix, he remains a small gear-wheel in the gigantic soulless mechanism. In order to fully exercise his creative beginnings, he must necessarily leave the system. With every man who chooses the MGTOW path, the amount of free intellectual resources that potentially can transform this world for better increases. The quantitative measurement of such resources will inevitably sooner or later turn into qualitative one, because, as I mentioned above, evolution has put in man a desire to explore reality and create something new. This is comparable to a giant computer cluster. The more computers it absorbs, the more powerful it becomes, and the more complex tasks it can solve. I think some listeners share my feeling that the world in 2020 is more like a dystopia than a utopia. This is due to the fact that at the present stage of its development, humanity has collided with a combination of several severe crises. Existing economic and political systems are exhausting. The institution of the family has already died, but no viable alternative has been implemented. For almost a century, fundamental physics has been going round in circles, trying to bring together the laws of the micro and macro worlds. The same applies to medicine, that for quite a long time hasn't progressed in the treatment of some incurable diseases, and so on and so forth. However complicated the problems of modern civilization may be, these are men who will have to unravel them. I dare to say that this task is solvable only by men who will get rid of the ordinary lifestyle system and who will use their own time and intelligence to act at a much higher level of awareness.